Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the K-Man 1971 back with yet another good old fashioned comic book haul. I am still somewhat jazzed from last night after watching Avengers Infinity War. Don't worry, as usual, no spoilers whatsoever, but man, it is a big summer comic book crossover only on the big screen, and they succeed. Um, I mean, wow, I was blown away. Go see it. Stay away from the internet until otherwise, and just enjoy it, man. So, without any other further, oh, actually, one more side note. I want to just briefly just thank everyone that took the time to watch my last week's comic book collection spotlight celebrating 80 years of Superman. Definitely thought it was a good time, and it wasn't just like, for me personally, it wasn't just celebrating Superman. It's almost celebrating the medium in general. So it was a celebration. So without any other further ado, let's get on with the haul. I haven't had a haul in like over a month, so I have a bunch of current issues as well as a bunch of back issues to show. So let's get it on. Here's the Flash number 45, David Finch variant cover, formerly known as the B cover. And yeah, I just love any kind of Superman Flash race. One of my favorite traditions in comics. To all good things come to an end. And this is the last Art Germ Supergirl cover. He had a really nice run on these Supergirl covers, man. So look forward to seeing what he's going to do on Captain Marvel as well as Catwoman. So cool. Here is Batman number 45, which features the stellar Jim Lee variant cover for featuring Superman and Batman. Sorry, got a little jamble there as usual. So yeah, beautiful cover. Unfortunately, I was not a fan of the story, which is very rare when it comes to Tom King with me. But wasn't a fan of the Booster Gold story. A little out of order, but here is Batman number 44, the issue where Selina quote unquote picks out a dress. But this was a good read. Here we have The Immortal Men number 1. I haven't actually read this yet, but I picked it up basically because Jim Lee artwork, character first appearances, and I wanted to see what was up with the Batman Who Laughs, to see what happened with him after Metal concluded. So I've just flipped through it. I haven't actually got a chance to read it as of yet. Here is my pick for cover of the haul in a book that I've just recently added back onto my pull list. Deathstroke number 30, and this is the first part of the Deathstroke versus Batman storyline. Yeah, how could I stay away from this? And look at this Matina cover. Oh, man. I know a lot of people have already given praise for this cover, and it's definitely warranted. But yeah, love this cover, especially with the added touch of him wiping the blood off with Superman's cape. Speaking of a guy that's been killing it on the covers, Mark Brooks. I've been a fan of Mark Brooks ever since he started doing the Deadpool covers for the Marvel Now volume, and I've been following him on and off ever since. So here's Avengers number 687, which part 13 of the No Surrender storyline, which just ended this week. 688, 689, which part 15, which kind of concluded the main part of the story as far as the conflict went. And I have to say, I was let down. It was one part like super cheesy dialogue, and the other part Deus Ex Machina, also known as well, I'm not even gonna say it because I don't want to spoil it, but someone that's been used before to take care of problems without much originality. So really kind of let down, but what can you do? Beautiful cover though, and 690, the final part, which serves as more as like an epilogue, I guess. It kind of puts all the players in place for the next stages of their story arcs. outside of the Avengers comic and setting up for the reboot too, I guess. But as an overall story arc, I mean, I think it is pretty ambitious. 16 issues, and it did introduce some new characters like the Lethal Legion, Voyager, Challenger. Introduced the concept of the Immortal Hulk, and I think it set up some things that Marvel will revisit down the line. So overall, I thought the storyline was good. It was just the ending was just something that we've seen before. Another popular storyline you might have heard of going on at the House of Ideas is the Red Goblin story arc going on in Amazing Spider-Man, which I jumped on late. I started following the story arc around, I think, 797. So here's issue 798, which is the first full appearance of the Red Goblin. This is the Young Guns Javier Garron variant, which is pretty snazzy, even though I don't understand how this happens. I mean, he's supposed to be upside down, so what is his web attached to with the skyscrapers? I don't know. 799, the standard Alex Ross cover, which Alex Ross, has he ever done a bad cover? I don't think so. Alright, another popular storyline that you may have heard of that I finally jumped onto, the Cosmic Ghost Rider storyline that was running through Thanos. So I kind of stood away from this because of it just being one of those alternate possible future storylines that don't have much longevity as far as I don't know, as far as collectability goes, I guess. And I have no problem reading a story about these books were like pretty expensive at the time. So for some reason or another, the lenticular cover is the cheapest option to go if you want to get a Thanos number 13. So this book will go from anywhere between like $10 to $20, I guess. And I picked it up for like 12. I've heard people say that this still goes for cover, but nowhere in my area, man. So this is my cheap way of getting the first appearance of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. And I also picked up the rest of the storyline too. And I have to say, what hooked me into this storyline actually was I saw a still shot on online of the Silver Surfer holding a certain weapon, and I'm like, all right, I have to check this out. And I'm really glad I did, because this was pretty much the best stuff that I've read, in my opinion, out of the House of Ideas so far this year. So here's number 13. Here's number 14, fourth printing. Here's number 15, the third printing. Love that cover. Number 16, I believe this is the second printing. Number 17. And number 18, which I guess they ended up just reusing the cover of the Incredible Hulk versus Venom mail-away one-shot from the 1990s, which I wasn't a fan of to begin with back then. But great story arc. Very happy to add it to my Marvel Cosmic collection in my PC. Alright, on to the back issue, shall we? Uncanny X-Men number 283. I used to own this book, and I guess this is the first full appearance of Bishop. I always thought it was 282. But, hey, whatever. This is an issue that I thought that I did own, and when I was flipping through my long box probably about a month ago, I realized I didn't have it. So I found this in really high grade for $3. Picked it up. X-Force number 8. And this is supposed to be the origin of Cable and a possible first appearance of Domino. This issue features the real Domino in a flashback story. So I already own New Mutants 98 and what is it? X-Force number 10. So I'm just trying to keep all my bases covered. So why not? Black Panther number 4. The first appearance of the White Wolf, who I guess people have been speculating that Bucky Barnes will take that mantle. I'm not really sure how that'll work. Remember back when Luke Cage was in development for Netflix and people were speculating on that Captain America back issue? I forget the number because it featured the first appearance of a character called Diamondback, but it wasn't the Diamondback that was going to be featured in the Luke Cage series. I think this is kind of almost along the same thing, because I can never see Bucky Barnes taking the being the character that is the White Wolf in this issue. So take it for what you will, but I picked it up for like cover price. Why not? I figured, considering that they're going to be restarting the Sandman universe pretty soon, and I've been working on my Sandman run, I picked up Sandman number 75. This is the last issue of Sandman, so just in case there's a, you know, like like a new generation of people getting interested in the Sandman series again and start going after the original Sandman series. Last issues are always traditionally tough to come by, so I figured why not be proactive and pick it up beforehand. So, very cool. Another series that I've been working on, I haven't actually had any issues to show in a while, is Gotham City Sirens. I'm just trying to avoid picking these up online for like $10 an issue when you throw in shipping. So, here's issue number 16, which all feature like fantastic covers. Number 17. Number 18, beautiful cover. And number 24. I think I need like maybe 4 or 5 more issues now and I have the complete run. Some great Batman stuff on the cheap. Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 54, which features artwork from Mike Mignola. So anytime I can get Mike Mignola on Batman, I'm going to snatch that stuff up, and you will be seeing more Mike Mignola artwork featured later on in this video for sure. The Untold Legend of the Batman, number 1. Now, I believe that this is the first miniseries for Batman ever. So, always wanted to pick this up, and I think the cover is kind of classic, and it does feature, at least the first issue features artwork from John Byrne, which I don't know how DC got him to do any artwork. This was around the time that he was in between X-Men and Fantastic Four, I believe. So, I don't know. But Untold Legend of Batman, number 1. And number 2. I picked up this issue yesterday out of the dollar bins. Judge Dredd number 9 for that incredibly metal Brian Bolland cover. Another last issue special. Savage She-Hulk number 25. Last issue of her first volume. Another dollar bin special. Marvel Age, number 8, featuring, I believe that's a Fred Henbeck cover, maybe? No, I don't think so. But whomever did that cover, it was pretty cool, very cartoony, and of course it features Stan Lee and Jim Shooter. Daredevil, number 105, and I believe this features the first appearance of Moondragon, or at the very least, it features her origin, which is actually illustrated by Jim Starlin in this issue, who doesn't do the art for most of the issue, but he does the origin segment for Moondragon, which I thought was pretty neat. Probably about a month ago, I showed off the Incredible Hulk Future Imperfect number 1, near mint condition, and I picked up issue number 2 yesterday. I believe I paid $8 for this. Very nice, and now I can finally get to read the storyline. Book that I've been looking for in a nice grade for a little while, Avengers number 183, and I think it was, whose video I was watching a while ago that put this book on my radar. I believe it was Gotham Comics, and a totally affordable issue. I think it still only goes for maybe like a little over $10 in high grade on eBay, but this features the first time that Carol Danvers, who we all know now as Captain Marvel, joined the Avengers. So a spec book, and it's a spec book that I would speculate, pun intended, that it will see a rise sooner than later. Staying on in the Bronze Age spec books, The Eternals number 3. Now, as all of you know, the Eternals, the rumor is that the Eternals is being the next property that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to develop. And so there's been a definite uptick in Eternals back issues, which were at one point, aside from the first issue, dollar bin fodder for the most part, if that. So issue number one really sharp in value, but I would also keep an eye out for this issue, issue number three, which features the first appearance of a character named Cersei. Same name but different spelling as the Wonder Woman villain. So this book right now, like even in fine condition, I noticed I picked this up yesterday for around like $5, and I looked it up on eBay afterwards, and this book is in just a fine condition is going for like 25 bucks. So as I said, Cersei is rumored to be or maybe I didn't say it, I'm not sure, but Cersei is rumored to be the main character in the Eternals movie. So kind of how Big Barda is seen an uptick because of the New Gods movie rumors. The character of Cersei is also seen an uptick. So as far as the Eternals go, I would definitely go with like the first 3 issues of this series to be safe. You'd have the first appearance of the Eternals in issue number 1 in Icarus. You'd have the first appearance of the Celestials in issue number 2, and issue number 3 features the first appearance of Cersei. So there you go. The Amazing Spider-Man number 263. And this would be probably one of those books that I wouldn't show off. It would just be a run filler for the most part. But as we all know, the Red Goblin craze has hit a fever pitch. Because this is the first appearance of Normie Osborn as a baby. So, yeah, this book was maybe a $3 to $5 issue before, and now it's shot up to like 25-30 bucks. Will it stay that way? I really doubt it. But I have no problem picking it up for the regular old school back issue comic price, because this would have been a filler in my run. I love anything Amazing Spider-Man from Silver Age to the end of the McFarlane era. So, happy to pick it up. Wow, I can't believe people are paying $25-30 for this book. Crazy. Princess Leia, number 1. I think this is the 1 in 50 Mark Brooks variant. Once again, very big on Mark Brooks, and I just thought this was just an iconic and beautiful Princess Leia cover, capturing a lot of the iconic moments, I guess, of her character through the movies. So, love it. And I do love variants. I don't show them off very often, but variants depreciate so quickly. And once they get past that flavor of the month stage, so if I really do see a variant that I like, I usually do go after it after it settles down a little bit. And that was the case with this issue. So Princess Leia number 1, 1 in 50 Mark Brooks variant. And I picked up yet another copy of Star Wars number 1, this time the J. Scott Campbell. I believe this is also a 1 in 50 variant. And this is one of my favorite J. Scott Campbell covers. I love the way he draws Princess Leia on this cover. And you have the whole gang here. Love it. As I said in my Superman Collection Spotlight video last week, Star Wars and Superman were my gateway comics. The Star Wars toys were the first things that I remember collecting in general with that fever that we collect comic books now. So Star Wars obviously has a big place in my heart. So loved picking this up finally. This was another book that was kind of a little outrageous when it first came out, and now it's settled down to like, well, I picked it up for, I think, for like maybe 20 bucks in near mint condition. So love it. Moving on. Supernatural Thrillers, number 5, the first appearance of the Mummy. Love my Bronze Age Marvel horror, and I love the old school Universal classic monsters of Dracula, the werewolf, Frankenstein, and of course the Mummy. So now I have Tomb of Dracula number 1, Marvel Spotlight number 2, which features the first appearance of Werewolf by Night, the Monster Frankenstein number 1, which technically isn't the first appearance of Frankenstein in the Marvel Universe, but and Supernatural Thrillers number 5. So very happy with that. Probably fine to fine minus condition. Here's a cool book. One word, Shazam! Shazam number 8, 100-page giant. It's another one of those books that's tough to find in good grade because of that spine, but the spine is pretty sweet. So picked it up for like $10 yesterday, and the significance of this book is that it features only the second appearance of Black Adam in comic books, the appearance in this book is actually a reprint of his first and only Golden Age appearance. So yeah, very early Black Adam appearance, and a reprint of his first appearance, which I will obviously never own the first printing of. So really cool to pick this up, and I checked this one out on eBay also yesterday. I picked this up at the same store I picked up that Eternals issue, and yeah, it goes for, in this grade, probably between 25 and $30. So pretty cool. In my last haul, I showed off Blue Beetle number 1, which I picked up off online in very fine shape. And this is Blue Beetle number 4, which is in fine minus shape, but it was less than $10. At my regular comic book shop, they recently bought a collection with a lot of Bronze Age, Copper Age, and a little bit of Silver Age, but mostly all the Silver Age was Charlton issues of Blue Beetle, Judo Master, which I might still pick up too, but this was the only issue out of the Blue Beetles that he had that was at least in fine condition. So snatched it up for less than $10. Silver Age Steve Ditko on Blue Beetle, and doing another backup question backup story. So very cool. Also, in a haul a couple of months ago, I showed an issue of Savage Sword of Conan that featured the original origin of Red Sonja, and I had stated that it was actually a reprint from another magazine called Conan the Barbarians number 3, which is this right here. So being more of a Conan fan and not being a cult fan at all, I wanted the original origin of Red Sonja, so I bought it in the Savage Sword of Conan issue. But this came across in one of my honey holes for very affordable. And while I wasn't looking for it, seeing it kind of jumped out in front of me, I figured why not pick it up. One thing I overlooked the first time that I read this story, and probably because it was early artwork from this artist and that it was black and white, I didn't notice. But the artwork for the Red Sonja story is actually illustrated by Howard Chaykin, which is pretty damn cool. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 4. And this right here is my favorite Jim Steranko cover ever. And definitely in my top 10 favorite covers of all time. I would say this book is in fine plus to very fine minus shape. Has a date stamp up there. But other than that, I mean, it could be a little whiter, I guess, but that's it. I mean, picked this up for like $30 or $35, something like that. And absolutely love this cover, love this book. Kind of along the lines of that, what is it, the Superman issue that I showed in my spotlight last week of Neil Adams breaking the chains. This is definitely along those lines of like one of the most iconic comic book covers ever, in my opinion, of course. So, all right, to end this haul off, I went on a little bit of a Hellboy binge. So, Batman, Hellboy, Starman. I love my cross-company crossovers. I love Mike Mignola artwork, especially doing Batman and Hellboy together. So, I had to pick it up. So here's issue 1 and issue 2. Decent story, but it's the Mignola artwork that really carries this series. And I had never owned the first Hellboy miniseries, Seed of Destruction. So this was the mini that put Hellboy on the map, and I've always wanted to read it. So, and it definitely lived up to the hype also. Great story, incredible Mike Mignola artwork, some of his best. Moody, creepy, just great stuff. So here's issue number 1. Here's issue number 2, which features the first appearance of Abe Sapien. I believe it was Tim the comic, the Canadian comic book hunter that showed this book off. That kind of got me into a little bit of a Hellboy craze. So, thanks, Tim. Thanks for your Hellboy enabling ways. So here's issue number 2, which, like I said, features the first appearance of Abe Sapien and possibly the BPRD. Number 3. And number 4. Once again, I would recommend it to anyone. If you're a collector, these books are collectible, and I would speculate will increase in value over as time goes on, not just the first 2 issues. And as a reader, I mean, you can't go wrong. So it's a win-win. And now for my pick of the haul. Next Men. Well, John Byrne's Next Men, number 21, which features the first full-color appearance of Hellboy in comics. Hellboy, as we all know, appeared in that San Diego Comic-Con issue. That was, I think there's only, 1,500 in print or something like that? I'm not sure. But it's definitely on my list if I can get it in an affordable manner. But for right now, this is a nice little placeholder. Not the first appearance of Hellboy, but pretty damn close. Another book, kind of like the Batman Adventures issue that features the first appearance of Harley, just kept on going up and up and up. And when it was like a $30, $40 wall book, I'm like, I'm not paying that much for that book. Boy, I wish I had. Now, this is nowhere near worth what the Batman Adventures issue is worth, but this is another book that I see a lot of potential for, that features a great character. And let's not forget, there is a Hellboy reboot coming to the movies pretty soon, so... And I love the guy that they cast for it from Stranger Things, so it should be pretty good, hopefully. So that's all I have for this week. Thank you all for watching, liking, and subscribing. As always, I will be back probably about in another month or so with my next comic book haul. So enjoy what's left of your weekend and your freedom. And get out there and watch Avengers Infinity War. It's a good time, for sure. All right, take care. See ya.